And welcome back to part 5 of What If Krillin I Wish to Be a Saiyan like Goku. So last time on the Dragon Ball Z What If, we basically dealt with the Buu saga and we were able to deal with it prior to anything bad ultimately happening. Buu was not awoken, Shin Kibito was resurrected, and they basically took Babidi and Buu away. And so, you have that time period of peace. Goku and Krillin both have Super Saiyan 2 under their belts at this point. They, I think, maybe are pushing Super Saiyan 3. Like, they keep training and pushing themselves. Because I do always believe that, yes, a living body can learn Super Saiyan 3. Gotenks is a perfect example of this. That, yes, he's magic, but that isn't an excuse for why he was able to learn Super Saiyan 3. If anything, Super Saiyan 3 hindered the effects of the fusion dance. So I've never understood that argument. I really don't. It's like, no, Gotenks is a perfect example of how Super Saiyan 3 is clearly attainable in a living body. But no, I still don't think they've hit it yet, just because the sheer amount of training they'd have to do for it is staggering. And I just don't think they're there. But they're still very powerful. Krillin still has his tail. And I do believe that Krillin maybe has even tried to harness Ikari Super Saiyan, or Ikari, Great Ape Super Saiyan, but still nothing happening. Beerus wakes up, hears about the Super Saiyan God, learns that the Saiyans are on Earth, and, heads to Earth. He actually stops initially at King Kai's, I think, just to see what he knows. Goku's not there because he never learned the instant transmission. So he's actually on Earth training with Krillin. And they're having the party with Bulma. Now, one thing we need to address is Gohan. Is Gohan dating Videl or anyone? I think that, yes, Gohan is dating Videl, or he's dating that blonde chick. I can't remember her name now that she's very important. No offense. But she really wasn't. I think Videl, him and Videl still probably would have gotten together. I do. It probably would have taken a bit longer than we see in the series. Hercule's probably been introduced to these guys and wondering who they are, only to be like having the serious culture shock. I actually don't even think Hercule's even at the at Bulma's party. And Videl, I think, probably would still be pregnant with Gohan's child. So, just so you ever keep it track here, that's Goku, Krillin, Goten, Gohan, and the unborn Pan. Still only 5 Saiyans, because you need a 6th one. You need 6, one to be the god, and 6 for the 5 ritual. Anyway, Beerus shows up, and no one there knows who the hell this is. Krillin, Kai immediately warns, the gang at least Krillin or Goku, who this is. But remember, there is no Vegeta here. Vegeta was the one who remembered who Beerus was and immediately got scared the piss out of him. But here, that's not the case. So, for the time being, they're cool. Beerus and Whis are actually having a good time, and Beerus even gets his pudding, which puts him in a better mood. Ultimately, though, he basically says, that's enough of this. Where is the Super Saiyan God? Was Super Saiyan what? And he explains this, and Whis is like, yes, we came here because we were looking for a Super Saiyan God. And so, well, I can't really speak to anything about that. Like, you're saying there's no Super Saiyan God here. How frustrating. Still, the food was enjoyable. So what should I do? It's like, oh, you want to... It's like, and Krillin's like, you want to go? Yeah! He's like, oh, that's adorable. Oh, I see. So, this is how you Saiyans were able to defeat Frieza. As he transforms into, like, Super Saiyan 2. Goku then tag teams him with, Krillin, but nothing's happening. Ultimately, he's like, well, this was very amusing, but still no go. Ultimately, Goku's just like, ah... Ultimately, I think they do work it out to use the Dragon Balls to wish for the Saiyan God. But they need more Saiyans. They just do. They're short Saiyans. And so, Beerus has like, Whis, are there any Saiyans within the galaxy we could garner for such a task? Let me see, Lord Beerus. Well, there's 2 on a planet known as Vampa, and then Prince Vegeta himself is out ruling Frieza's empire. It's like, well, we only need 1, but still, it's better to have, we need 2 anyway. Because honestly, Videl probably wouldn't mention that she's pregnant at this point. So, we say, let's go to the Vampa and pick them up. We'll be back, don't go anywhere. And sure enough, probably 20 minutes later, it's like, ah, what are we doing here? What is this place? Broly, what's going on? And they briefly explain the destroyer gun. What? So you came to get us for some old legend? Whatever. We'll do whatever you want. You got us up. You were able to finally get us off that planet. We've been stuck there for decades. I'll do whatever you want. Splendid. And then so after quickly, please let's just eat some actual food for. Of course, I will admit though that food is quite tasty. And so Broly and Paragus eyeing up the two other Saiyans they see and the kids. I mean, half Saiyans they are, but the kids. And it's like, and you know, just, oh god, feels so good to actually eat food again. Broly's like, good. And so afterwards, they explain their situations. Like, yeah, well, the only one out there still is Vegeta, and he hasn't come back since. Yeah, I don't think he's ever really going to be coming back to this planet. Vegeta, by has probably hit Super Saiyan 2 as well after all these years. He probably rules Frieza's empire with an iron fist, but he makes sure to stay away from Earth because he's prideful, but he's not stupid. At this point, he's like, there's a good chance with all the time that's passed, he too has, those idiots have also hit Super Saiyan, the form that he's hit. So he's not going to just try to take them on 2-on-1, or 1-on-2, and with hopes of just, I am even strong enough. He recognized that even if he is stronger than either of them, or both of them, if they tag team him together, he wouldn't be able to do anything. So ultimately, they do the ritual. Goku gets the god form, and they clash. And the clash goes about the same as it does, except this time, Beerus isn't threatening to destroy the planet. He has not been disrespected at all or anything like that. Nothing's happened that would warrant him destroying the planet, really. And so him and Krillin go back to their normal shtick, only for Whis to eventually show up and offer to train both of them. And so they go off and do their training. They ultimately hit Super Saiyan God for Krillin and Blue for both of them. Going to Resurrection F, yeah, now you're dealing with a bit of change. Like, they're trying to stop Frieza from destroying, like, the whole planet. And, yeah, I mean, it's not the same as the original. Like Roshi, Tien's probably stronger. Yamcha's probably stronger. Krillin's not there though. 18 is around, sure. So is 17, but they're not doing much really. But well, actually, I misspoke. I just realized like 18 and 17 aren't around because they actually got involved after the whole Cell thing. So. Yeah, I mean, like, arguably you could make the argument that, they got resurrected when they wished back the people Cell killed, but I have a feeling it was very minimal, the people he killed at that point. So, either way, I'm actually saying that they're not around at this, but they're like dead. Then you have Gohan, who probably has hit Super Saiyan at this point, which is great. Goten, and even Trunks, Yamcha, and Bulma's kid is putting in his fair share of effort, even though he's nowhere near as strong as, say, Goten is or anything like that. They also don't have the fusion dance here, which is actually, didn't really play a big factor there at all, but ultimately is still a hindrance for them. Still, though, I think they do manage to hold out for Krillin and Goku to show up. Goku goes first, that fight goes down exactly the same. Krillin shows up afterwards to save Goku's ass. And unlike Vegeta, he doesn't dwell on it. He kills Frieza. Because unlike Vegeta, he doesn't harbor all the hatred that Vegeta held for Frieza for what he did to Planet Vegeta. Because he's not a natural Saiyan. He's a artificial Saiyan. So Frieza actually gets taken out. Completely. And they don't have to do any rewind on that. So that leads us into Tournament Universe 6 arc. You'd have Krillin, Goku. I think you'd still have Vegeta. Or not Vegeta, sorry. You'd still have Gohan. Or no, you wouldn't still have Gohan, but Gohan would be on the team. Unfortunately, like, the actual roster of really strong people is actually pretty limited this time around, which is really going to hinder them later on the road. Maybe. But then you still can get Piccolo, who I think at this point I think at this point they will have eventually used through a combination of King Kai finding out what happened in the Namekians, Kami and all that. They would have fused with Piccolo, who is at this point now pretty chill. Again, never going to be his canon counterpart, but he can always be at least his maybe his Saiyan Saga counterpart. Pretty solid, but still has rough edges. And they found probably a new guardian, probably like Dende. Most likely, they would have asked Dende after he was resurrected. So, think words here. So yeah, and then they get Monaka, and really it's most of the same. Gohan, puts up a good fight, but he still gets taken down by. Actually, I think Piccolo would actually be the one. You see, Krillin doesn't have the same pride of a Saiyan as Vegeta did. That's why I think Piccolo would actually still be reinstated into the fight. So Krillin holds off a bit. Now, I'm trying to remember who was it. Was it Vegeta or was it Kaba who came next? Because I'll be honest, Piccolo, especially after fusing with Kami and just continuing training, probably would be able to beat Kaba. If he's close to his canon power, he'd probably beat Kaba. I don't know about Vegeta. Vegeta is really weird. Like Vegeta struggled with him too. I'll say this. Let's just go. I think he could beat Vegeta, but I think he's going to just give up after that. Or, at least try to test out Hit real quick to see, how the others can manage him, only to be dropped in the first second. So after that's all said and done, and after Gohan probably chosen to try to, take him on, Gohan gets dropped. Krillin's next. And Krillin goes all the way to Super Saiyan Blue. He's like, yeah, I'm not wasting any time with you. And admittedly, going to that level of power does put him at a speed level where he could probably keep up with Hit. Admittedly, Goku's the one who's still paying attention to it. And he's unfortunately struggles still, because we saw that even Vegeta couldn't take this guy on, even as Super Saiyan Blue. Ultimately, though, it was Goku's ability to predict him that allowed him to, take him on. And then ultimately, Krillin maybe does get a hit in, because he's at this point expecting to get hit. And just as Hit does hit him, and he's expecting, he then clashes out with like an energy blast and blast Hit almost out of the range. And then ultimately Hit takes Krillin out. Goku and his fight go the same. All's well that ends well. Moving on, we're probably going to actually get this done in this episode, folks, which allows me to queue up for next week's new vid. 2 new what ifs coming next week, actually. So the Goku Black arc, I do think the Goku Black arc, it is Goku Black. It's not Krillin Black or anything. It's just Goku Black. Krillin is basically the Vegeta substitute in this, and really, unlike Vegeta, he's a lot more calculating. While he does have that Saiyan urge to fight, he is a lot more willing to listen to reason about things. Wait for Mercy to do the Mafaba seal. So that's a big thing. I think Krillin's the one who actually waits to make sure they got the seal tag for the Mafaba. Which is important because I do still think the initial confrontation between Goku and Black goes the same. Then the initial confrontation between, in this case, Krillin, Goku, and Goku Black goes the same. Minus the fact that Krillin isn't blinded by rage. He gets taken by surprise. And then eventually the sealing of Zamasu is paramount here. Because Trunks learns the technique, and Goku learns the technique, and they both are given a seal tag. And Zamasu did get a sealed effectively. He just wasn't kept sealed because there was no seal tag on there. The Mafaba is like extremely freaking OP when you really break it down. So with Zamasu sealed and them like pocketing the little seal capsule, Krillin and Goku can focus on Goku Black and hopefully seal his ass away. Unfortunately, that's easier said than done, especially when he makes multiple clones of himself. So great fight, by the way, with Reverse Flash. Now that was a top tier fight of the season for Death Battle this year. So they struggle, but ultimately Trunks comes in again, and Goku hands him another seal tag, and they are able to seal Goku Black away. There is no fuse Zamasu because or merge Zamasu because Zamasu was sealed away. Now, you will be asking yourself, what has Broly and Paragus been doing this whole time? Because I didn't bring them in, and rightfully so, honestly. Because right now because after hearing everything that's been going on with them, they probably are just giving them a chance to live their lives. Why didn't Broly join? Well, Broly could have, but Broly's just they're living on a very peaceful world right now, and they're actually having a shot at life. I mean, Paragus isn't getting any younger. He's probably only got a good decade left on it. Well, maybe not. Saiyans can retain their youth longer, but then they hit a certain age and start to rapidly age. We can see that with Paragus, but that doesn't mean he still wouldn't live a good couple of years. At least maybe a decade or more. Broly is just, trying to enjoy also life, enjoying the peace of things and, people. But that's not to say they won't be called to action when the time is required. If anything, they can sense how strong Broly is and want him to stay back and kind of like to, guard and, keep people safe. And Broly's like, It's like, absolutely, right. Paragus had like a power level at that point in his life about 4,900. So, yeah, I mean, he's certainly not weak, and he can certainly, help out when he needs to. But ultimately, yeah, I think the Zamasu issue is settled. So that leads us to the Tournament of Power. And yes, Zeno still showed up, still gave Goku the button, there was no erasing the thing, so there's actually no double Omni King in this. That doesn't mean the Omni King still doesn't want the Tournament of Power, he's just, in fact, he probably wants it even sooner. Goku, Krillin, and maybe Gohan, who keeps training a little bit, go and deal with the Universe 9 guys, and I think that goes roughly the same. Gohan probably loses or whatever. But in terms of their tournament team, it's still Goku, it's Krillin. Broly does get added to the roster now, finally. Piccolo's going on the team. Tien, Roshi. But there's no twins. There is no Vegeta. And there's no Boo, who obviously got replaced for Frieza. So that's 4 people missing off the team. That's no small amount. So who else is going on the team? Well, I think Gohan definitely goes. He's now at a point of power where it seems logical that he can join in. I think they do go, and I think Paragus, even though he's an old fighter, does agree to also go. If nothing else, he says, if nothing else, to fill out our numbers and maybe take some of the weaker members out. Makes sense. That still leaves 2. I think they do go and recruit Vegeta after explaining the situation to him, and Vegeta remembering, oh god, this is Beerus. So I do think I think Vegeta begrudgingly goes over there. And finally, yeah, I think they have to resurrect Frieza. I don't think they have much of a choice here. Goku goes to get him, they have their little clash, all's well that ends well. So when the tournament happens, we are in a very different scenario. You don't have the infinite engines of the androids to help you. I do think that Krillin and Goku do wipe out Universe 9 very quickly. I think, though, Gohan and Paragus go out pretty quick as well. I think Universe 10 lasts a little longer until you get like Tien and Yamcha showing up there and, taking names a little bit. Yamcha's a lot stronger in this version than he is in the original. Then after that, it's a lot of the same stuff up until you get to Goku versus Jiren. Goku and Jiren fight. He does access Ultra Instinct in this case. This version does make sense that he would access Ultra Instinct because he has both the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb that he learned at Master King Kai, so that makes sense. Then, Krillin and then Frieza gives him some energy. Krillin, I think, would find him, though, and give him a bit more energy, kind of get him back up to snuff as he goes off and helps, some other people or some of his other teammates, just goes fighting. This changes up the fight between him, Kale, and Khalifa quite a bit because he's actually in a better shape. So he can immediately go into Super Saiyan right from the get. And, is actually able to keep pace with both these girls. Only going into Super Saiyan 2, he accesses things a lot faster, which I think speeds up the emergence of Kefla. And then that fight, again, goes down the same. Piccolo, I think, is a bit more... This thing about this is I think Piccolo's a bit more suspicious and a bit more... mistrusting still, which means he wouldn't be taken by surprise by the Universe 4 guys. But before that, he would have to take on the Universe 6 Namekians, which would not be easy because he doesn't have Go on his side. What he does have, though, is Krillin, and I think him and Krillin kind of tag team him. Or, yeah, I think it's a Krillin Piccolo tag team, whereas Goku, we know, was able to handle the gravity thing on his own. And they knocked out Universe 2's Warriors and Universe 6's Warriors. Which begs the question on how the Rebriand thing works. Honestly, I think they still beat Rebriand. The point... Let's actually just skip right ahead to Universe 9... Universe 11 versus Universe 7. Who is left at that point? Goku is definitely. Krillin is definitely. Frieza is definitely. Is there anyone else? Well, there's Broly. Broly's still around. I think Broly... I don't think Broly has actually had anything to really trigger the Super Saiyan, Legendary Super Saiyan form. So, yeah, I do think he's very much still around. I think he is very much, able to participate. And I think the fight between Universe 9 is what helps trigger the Ikari form. He's raging out, but he's not gone. He's not KO level raging out. Where it's like, I'm going to kill you. And it's like, how about a handicap? Is that like a coffin? Come on. He might be one out, but who doesn't love that pretty Broly movie, man? I'm a genuine freak. Broly is the devil. Aren't you ignoring someone? Broly's wife? Kakarot must be strong. Killed Frieza, strong as there is. Well, technically, I am the one who killed Frieza. That's hot. Your hair smells like lavender, or looks like lavender, but smells like strawberries. Dad! Anyway, Goku and Krillin are definitely taking on Jiren. And, when Krillin tries to evolve the Super Saiyan to the, blue to the next step, I think for him, he's still kind of accessing an ascended Super Saiyan Ikari kind of form. Kind of version on Super Saiyan 4, but not actually doing it. So it's different than the evolved Super Saiyan. Just call it Royal Blue. It was such a good name. Anyway, the evolved Super Saiyan Blue, which we never frickin' see again. Anywho. So, they're clashing with Jiren. Topo is duking it out with, I think, Broly. And it's Frieza who's dealing with Dispo. And I think Frieza does eventually dispatch Dispo. Broly is starting to rage out against Topo. And, he goes into his card form, which we know was capable of going toe-to-toe with Super Saiyan God, Vegeta, and Goku. And he's a lot more reckless and wild than those two were. So he's able to really put Topo on the back foot. And I think, Disco gets knocked out, and then Frieza comes and just, boom, helps Broly knock out Topo. It's like, Argh. It's like, oh, Broly, look, he's beating up your friends, the other monkeys, go help him. And Jiren's just like, no, nope, sorry, guy, and yeah, nope. Because Broly at this point would not be strong enough to take on Jiren. I literally just did a Jiren versus Broly video earlier this week and explained my rationale behind it. How I think the fight would go down. And Kari Broly is strong enough to at least, cause him to block him. Sure, he doesn't want to take a shot from him, but it's not something that he couldn't beat. It's when then you add Super Saiyan on top of that, plus his legendary form. That's when you're getting a being who probably could beat Jiren, or at least maybe could beat Jiren. But anyway, ultimately, he blasts them back. Broly gets knocked out under rubble, and Frieza also gets taken out. Krillin and Goku are struggling, and then Krillin gives him his energy, and ultimately, their fight goes down the same with Ultra Instinct. Frieza saves his ass. With Broly coming out from the woodwork. Broly's not as strong, and Broly's calmed down, but he's still like, ugh. And they tag team him. There's no shield explosion, but they're still able to tag team him. Broly is a physical beast, so he is able to kind of grab Jiren, just like, ugh, Nelson, and it's like, Frieza, do it! It's like, with pleasure, as he blasts both of them. Oh, sorry, were you caught up in that? It's like, you know I was. It's like, oh, well, two birds, one stone. And then, obviously, Jiren still gets, think words here, still gets revived, if you will. He still gets motivated to continue on. Now, unfortunately, there is no shield here because 17 isn't here. He's the one who made the shield, and it was their energy being put into it. However, I would say that they are still able to probably block it. They're probably using like an energy blast or something like that. That's where Goku shows up, and they're able to, gain it. And they have their final fight, which is very similar, but not quite the same. Broly's, firing energy blast instead. He's the one, hanging back. And I still think cha 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 cha, time to end this. Like, still fan-freaking-tastic ending. Oh my god. And Broly is left the winner. And I think Broly is kind of unconscious enough of what's going on to be like, bring back the other universes and the inhabitants, please. They didn't deserve it. Like, are you sure? It's like, And so they bring him back. Frieza gets resurrected, and all's well that ends well on Dragon Ball Super. Anyway, that's where we end this. Did I maybe cut a few corners? Admittedly, maybe. But ultimately, I do think this is where this would end, more or less. But that's just my thoughts. What do you think? Did you like the ending? Did you hate it? Would you have done anything different? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, who wants to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.